Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Board of Commissioner meeting. I would like to call to order our Board of Commissioner regular meeting agenda, December 19th, 2024, at 7:20 p.m. Ms. Jones, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Roberts. Here. Commissioner Hall.
Present.
Commissioner Buffalini.
Present.
Vice Mayor McDonald. Mayor Anderson.
Present. Vice Mayor McDonald reached out to me, and he is on a trip and will not be here tonight. So I just wanted to let everyone know that. Item number 3 is prayer and pledge. Dear Lord, I just thank you for this season and what it means to each one of us in this Christmas time. I pray for each one of the commissioners up here as we work together to make decisions for this city. And may we always listen to you and do what's right for our community. In your name, I pray. Amen. Item number 4 is mayor's comments. I just want to welcome everyone here tonight and at home, and am excited that we're in the Christmas season. That's always such a fun time of year, and we have so many things that our community is involved in. We had some carolers come to the house, and they were part of the Boys and Girls Club, and it was just so neat to see the children singing and just enjoying this time of year. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And with everyone at home, we appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this meeting from your homes. And I would just ask that each one of us make sure that we speak clearly and loudly into our mics so that everyone at home can hear. Thank you to our officers who are here tonight who keep us safe. We appreciate you. And with that, we will go on to approval of the agenda, item number 5.
Move for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts.
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini.
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item number 5 passes 4-0. Item number 6 is citizens' comments.
There are none tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 7, public announcements, awards, and recognition. City events.
Thank you, Mayor. Above, you see 2025 events scheduled. Richard wanted me to read this to everyone. We would like to thank everyone for their support for all the events this year. These events could not happen without the support of the citizens, sponsor, staff, and Board of Commissioners. We're looking forward to the upcoming events for next year. And the first one will be April 12th, be our annual Easter egg hunt. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 8 is staff comments and monthly reports. A, community services report. Mr. Greer.
Catching up for a couple months since we missed our second meeting in November. Our residential building permits that were issued in October were a total of 12. Residential building permits issued in November were a total of 14. Total residential building permits issued for calendar year 2024 is 166. Currently, we are reviewing 2 applications for annexation and 3 applications for rezoning. And then the Williamson County Safety Action Plan Committee met with the county's selected plan developer. This plan is a collaboration between Thompson Station, Fairview, Nolensville, Brentwood, Spring Hill, and Williamson County governments. During the process, the committee will work with traffic engineers to determine vehicular and pedestrian safety concerns on roadways throughout the county. The projected schedule for this action plan is 18 months. During the schedule, there are opportunities for citizen involvement to express their safety concerns. Ultimately, this action plan will be able to be utilized by the county and each municipality to apply for grants that will improve pedestrian and vehicular safety on our roadways. The projected date for this project to start is mid-January 2025. We just had our first meeting with the Williamson County Safety Action Plan Committee. The county was awarded a grant to write this plan, and they have brought in all of the municipalities except Franklin. Franklin is doing their own plan on their own. So it is at no cost to us. We will be contributing to this, and this plan is going to be able to be used for grants to help improve our roadways in Fairview. That completes my report, but with that said, since we have a couple new elected officials here, and this is their first community services report from me, is there anything that you would like to hear out of planning and engineering, out of our codes department, moving forward in this report?
Mayor,
Yes.
I don't know enough to know what I don't know yet, if that makes any sense. So I want to say that I'll reserve that for later when I have a little bit more bearing on what information I would need. But I want to say thank you so much for offering that and for acknowledging that there is a learning curve to this and for taking the time to explain.
I will keep that in mind. If you have anything that pops up, just let me know. We can have it for you. That completes my report.
Thank you. 8B is Police Department Report. Chief Humphreys.
Good afternoon. Again, to kind of reiterate what Ethan said, we did miss last month, so we'll kind of be covering 2 months for one. For the month of October and, well, I did make an error there. It is October and November, not September there. But staffing levels had sustained at 31. That is our total staffing level. We have sustained that for some time now. Unfortunately, we do have one of our officers leaving us at the end of this week. Nothing that Fairview did wrong. It's personal reasons. He is leaving. We will be interviewing for that position the following Monday on the 23rd. Staff has, I think, 4 applicants they'll be interviewing for that. Overtime for the month, 11.5, and then a little spike, 46.36. When I report the overtime, that is actual overtime that the officers incur based on their duty out there on the street. We do have another separate overtime, which is grant overtime. They come in and work saturation patrols for the Tennessee Highway Safety Office doing DUI stops. We don't report that on there because that's a grant, money in, money out for that. We only report this, that will be expenditures incurred by the city. For training hours for the month in October, we had 475 training hours, November 399. And then you'll see in training October some of the topics that we covered. We had basic police school, the in-service course, homicide conference, executive leadership, ground control, which is a ground fighting course, instructor, sexual harassment in the workplace. You'll see that there's absent that month of any firearms training. Again, that lends back to my presentation about us not having a consistent range. Dixon did shut their range down for the month of October, so we weren't able to do some training we had scheduled that month. We did in the month, it says September, but that's actually November there. We did make up for that and had several on the list there, firearms dates there on that month that we were able to accomplish that. Next slide. Our operational report there is just our calls for service and self-initiated calls. It's all the things that we answer. I did want to put in there that September, there was 1,091. We had a tremendous spike in October, 1,296. There's no real rhyme or reason to that. It's just we answer the calls, and sometimes there is a spike like that. We usually hover somewhere around the 1,000 calls per month range. And again, we got into November, and that call volume came back down around that 1,000 mark. Next slide. We have a ton of statistical categories that we could report on. It would take literally a long time to do that. This is kind of a snapshot of some of the kind of priority stuff that we run. In October, arrests were 63, November 49. That 63 is kind of a representative of that call spike, being up into the 1,200s, having more interaction with crime. Domestic stayed about the same, 1 and 2. DUIs for the month of October, again, that self-initiated call volume, you'll see that was 5 DUIs for the month and none in November. Drug charges, 14 and 11, and thefts reported 5 and 3. Citations for the month of October is 168, and then dropped down into November 71. Traffic accidents for both months were exactly the same, 24 accidents, 22 of property damage, and 2 injuries, and we have had a long run, and hope it stays this way, of no fatalities here in Fairview. So we're hoping that holds true for a while. Next slide. Our public relations, I think you've probably heard, we did the Shop with a Cop. You'll see those pictures there littered across the top and the side. Is just some activity there. We had 38 kids. We were only able to do 37 that day. One was in the hospital. We're going to arrange for one of our officers to meet that parent and child over there at a later date to accomplish that. We do quite a bit, $300 each. The first $75 is they're required to get some kind of clothing, shoes, something, a necessity they need, and the last of it's for toys. It was a great day. You see the bottom here, the fire department. They were cooking breakfast. We could not do this partnership without them. We joined up several years ago. They cook a ton of food, a pancake breakfast. The kids get to enjoy that first, and we have 3 different waves that go over. And it was just an amazing day. It always is an amazing day. And I'll tell you, as new commissioners, when you talk to your constituents, and the mayor and Wayne know this, we constantly tell people that when you see us out hustling hamburgers and hot dogs, it is 100% for a Shop with a Cop. We do not pocket any of that for any training or equipment for PD. If we're at Nature Fest, we're at the movie in the park, anything we're doing where we've got a concession stand, it is totally to fund that effort. The officers love it, we're proud of it, and it's usually a big success. Last thing that this Friday, tomorrow, we have Officer Colton Stewart will graduate the police academy. It's a long time coming. It used to, we could get officers through their field training program and through the academy in less than 6 months. There has been a backlog at the academy. It is tough to get your people into the academy. There's a waiting list, and it now turns out to be somewhere between 9 and 12 months where you get those officers on the road for the first time. And he is graduating tomorrow. He will have 1 week left in a shadow phase of his field training program, and then he will be out on the road on his own. You will see him around town. If you see him, welcome him to Fairview. And then we have 3 more that will be attending the academy in January, right after the first of the year. So that is the end of my report. Any questions?
Mayor, I have one for you.
Yes, sir.
Not really a question, just something that I found out as many times as I've heard your report, but the requirement for necessities such as clothing and shoes, I'm
Yes.
glad to hear that.
Yes, we do that.
That's a fantastic
and,
thing.
And we're proud of it because we know that a lot of the areas that do Shop a Cop, it's about $150. We're at $300 and require that for them to get some necessities, and so that we're proud of that program.
Thank you, Chief.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have to. I was privileged to be there for Shop with a Cop, and it was really cool just to see the looks on the kids' faces,
Yeah.
on the parents, and just to watch them run through Walmart and pick things. And the what I really appreciated watching was that they took a portion of their funds, I believe it was $75 that had to be spent on essentials.
Yes.
They went right to socks, shoes, underwear, to undershirts.
Right.
And it was I respected that a lot.
Yeah.
And not one child that was there, including teenagers, said, no, I want to go to the toys. I want to go to toys. And in fact, I didn't see that many toys at the end of the day. I saw a lot of just essential gifts that they wanted for themselves. And I think there was a great opportunity for not just police, but for our fire as well. Because I was there in the morning and we had Santa Claus was there, and it was just a really, really good opportunity. And then also Miss Linda Williams was there, and they had knitted blankets for all the kids.
Oh, please, don't call those blankets. I've been in trouble for that before,
I'm
too.
sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, they're quilts.
The quilts.
They got on us one year for the same thing.
So each child got to pick their own quilt, and I just think that was amazing. So I give them kudos as well for your crew that did that as well, Miss Williams.
And to add, one thing that we do, we ask that the parents ahead of time submit some things like sizes and kind of the wants of the kids. And we ask the parents to please step aside and not intervene and let us have that interaction with the kid and let the child decide that. And it works out really well.
Yeah, and one thing I saw that almost brought me to tears, honestly, was one kid said, "Well, I really don't, but my sister needs something."
Right.
And I thought it was awesome that he decided to get something for his sister who wasn't there.
Right.
And it was really a great
Very
outing.
thankful for that.
And I appreciate being part of that, or at least witnessing that. So thank you to our police and fire.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you for this presentation and for the Shop with a Cop. I think this is fantastic. But back to the data that you showed, just out of curiosity, as I'm thinking with what Mr. Greer said earlier and learning how this works, is there ever a time where you'll produce data that shows us year over year so we can see whether some of these are trends that are happening, like an increase? And this is kind of for you, but then other departments as well.
I produce a spreadsheet off of our reporting network each time, and I pull those things. I can actually send that to you anytime you want that, and it's very detailed. The reason we don't do that here is it's so extensive that we would be going on and on forever talking about alarm calls and dogs barking, and it's very extensive, but it breaks all that out, and you're more welcome to email me or phone me, and I'll send anything you would like.
Thank you so much. I love some data, so
Yeah.
yes,
It's
I'll
a
be
lot
reaching
of
out.
it. It's a lot of it.
Thank you.
Is that it? Thank you.
Item 8C is Fire Department Report. Chief Hughes.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you. I first of all want to say thank you to the Boys and Girls Club. They also came by the fire station and caroled right before I came up here, so there was a big group that came over. I think we have 2 reports up here. We didn't combine ours, but this is a report for October. I'll go through it quickly. We had 117 calls, emergency calls for the month of October, which was down a little bit from the previous October. We had 10 overlapping incidents. That's when we have a crew on one incident and then another emergency comes out. We have to send another crew before we can clear the first one. We have had 2 incidents where a fire was extinguished. One was a lawnmower fire in the city. One was a field fire in the city. We had 6 mutual aid or automatic aid responses to surrounding jurisdictions, which would be Williamson County. The average response time was down 7 minutes, and that's from the time of the alarm to the time we get on scene. And then the average operating time on scene was down a little bit from the previous month, 18 minutes and 57 seconds. And that's from the time we get on scene till we clear the call. Again, to report an emergency, always call 911. We're still getting calls at the station, which we may or may not be there to answer that call. 911, there's someone there 24/7 to answer that call. The October breakdown, again, the biggest portion, and it was stays about the same, between 70 and 75% is medical calls is what we run, and then as the others, fires and rescue calls. Our heat map, again, as things start getting brighter, that means we're running more and more calls to that area. They may not be the same call, it may not be in the same exact area, but just in in that area as they light up. But green is just where we're running calls. Yellow, we've run a few more calls to that area, and red is we're running a lot of calls to those areas. As you can see, we have some that are bright again out by the interstate and down that 96 corridor. Fire prevention activities. In October, we had 22 fire and life safety inspections. Our fire marshal inspects every business in the city at least once a year, and all new businesses as they come in. We had 15 plan reviews. Those get sent over to us by the planning department. Sean and I review those. And then 17 pre-fire plans. Sean will go out and pre-plan some of our larger businesses so that when we get on scene, we're not surprised by anything. Public education events, we went to, the preschool had us out because this was, again, this was Fire Prevention Week, so we went to all the schools, handed out some educational material and talked to the kids. Sean actually attended the Around Town Coffee and did a fire extinguisher demonstration in October on how to use a fire extinguisher to everyone that was in attendance. Again, remind any citizens that need smoke detectors, call the fire department. There's a, you can pick the fire marshal, talk to him, and it'll put it to his voicemail or give him an email, and we will come out and install those for you. It's through a grant through the state that we participate in. Next slide. October training hours, we had 423 training hours. Some of the pictures of things that we did, October is the time that all the firefighters go through and do their air comp tests, which they put on their air packs. They go through our kind of an obstacle course of, and it's not a fun obstacle course. It's all things that we do on the job, and they basically drain a air cylinder completely, and then we record their times just to make sure that they're making progress or not declining as the year goes, but they're required to pass that every year. And then we had our driver training in October for the whole department, anybody that drives a truck. And also October is we do our annual maintenance on the training tower to keep it looking good. Sometimes we have to do a little welding, some painting. And we did also the annual cancer screenings for all our firefighters. And then we completed the annual fit testing, which is to fit our mask to make sure they still get good seals. That's it for October. This is for November. 120 calls. That was down from last November. We had 17 overlapping calls. We had one fire. There was another lawnmower fire in the city. I think people were cutting up leaves and they were getting hung up under the blades. We had one fatality accident on I-40. Victim had to be removed by hydraulic rescue tools. We had 6 mutual or automatic aid responses. Average response time was up a little bit, 7:40, and the average time on scene was up a little bit. Anytime we have scenes we have to stay on, again, we're out there a little bit longer. Next slide. November breakdown looks real similar to, as far as the call volume breakdown, to October and just about every other month. These are just some of the on-scene and training photographs that we have. As you can see, from the previous month, we had a lot more activity out on the 96 corridor than we did. That heat map has a lot more red areas in it than it did the previous month, so we're picking up more calls out there for this month. Sean, the fire marshal, again, he averages about 22 inspections a month. That's just kind of his schedule. Pre-plan reviews were down. We didn't have as many from the planning department. And then he had a career day at Fairview High School that he attended. Training numbers for November, 344 hours. There's just some of the pictures they did. We had one of the burn days. You see the guys down there. Chad Hare, one of our engineers, is instructing some of the new firefighters on what they're going to see when they walk in there in the smoke. And then we're doing an air monitor class. That's what the guy's looking at in his hand, and then using some of the tools. for cutting things. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions? And would you go the same route as Ethan? Is there anything you would like to see or not like to see anymore on these reports?
Quick question, Chief, Mayor. You mentioned fatality on I-40. Is that a mutual aid call there, or response?
It was not. It was in our jurisdiction.
It was.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just curious.
Yes.
I don't have any questions, but thank you for the year-over-year bar graph. That was great to see, and it's nice to see it go down.
We'll have, usually our January report kind of pulls everything together for the whole year. So in January, we'll have January to December for both years to compare that a little bit.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Also, I'd like to echo what I had said to Police Chief. Thank you very much for what you did with Shop with a Cop, although it should be Eat with Fire, Shop with a Cop.
Our guys call it Breakfast with Santa.
Oh,
and
Breakfast with Santa, there you go.
So they enjoy it. We have a big time. There are a lot of police officers in the fire station, which is kind of crazy, but it's okay.
But I just want to say thank you very much for everything that both departments do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I was wondering, with new commissioners on the board, if that our training tower is so impressive, and Commissioner Hall and myself got to do a commissioner camp with the firemen. I know this would probably be old hat to Commissioner Buffalini, since he was a fireman and probably knows how all this works, but I think it would be kind of cool to be able to do the commissioner camp again, maybe after the first of the year.
That's our
And-
plan.
Okay.
We'll probably do that sometime in January or February. We'll do the kind of same informational kind of thing, go over and let the new commissioners see our tools, what we use, what they're used for, kind of what we do every day. We're a big department. We cost a lot of money. Unfortunately, we don't have any way to create revenue, but it's nice to see what the tax dollars go toward.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Item 8D, Finance Report. Mr. Darty.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. This is the 3 reports that I've been giving out since I've been city manager, and we're gonna look at anything y'all want. We can adjust this, change this, but I just kept it the same way this meeting. But your first report is a Board of Commissioners monthly expenditure report. And the second report is a summary financial statement with a revenue detail and an expenditure summary of all funds. And then the last report is the bank account or fund account balances in each of the city's accounts. So I know you probably hadn't had time to mull over this, but if you ever have any questions on any of the finances, I'm always available. And also Ben is available. So we just try to keep an open door. But and we're going to look into. I've got something coming up later, to see exactly if there's anything we can do to improve report presentations or what would be beneficial going forward. But if there are any questions, I'm fine to answer them. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Daugherty. I appreciate that. What areas fall under the city manager purview? So, like, what are the specific areas that you might talk about when you're speaking? So I know your city manager report is coming up as the next one. Maybe I'll hold my question for that one. But just out of curiosity, like, what are the areas or the departments under you?
Usually I talk about things that are coming up when City Hall's closing. One of the things I'll be talking about is the new commissioner training, and then staff reports.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else with questions for Mr. Darty? Item 8E, City Manager Report. Mr. Darty.
Thank you, Mayor Board, again. Just wanted to remind everyone that City Hall will be closed next week on the 24th and 25th for the Christmas holidays. City Hall will be closed on Wednesday, January 1st for New Year's holiday. As you listen to these reports, just be thinking about them, content, format, et cetera. We will add this as a discussion item on the January 2nd agenda. So anything that you like, don't like, we've some of the staff like the way we do it. Some of them would like to throw some ideas at you and maybe change things up a little bit. But the main thing is that we provide the information that you want and need for your constituents and to answer any questions. Also, we need to schedule a new commissioner training, Commissioner 101. We're anticipating this will take an hour and a half. We want to schedule it from 5:30 to 7. We have the following dates to throw at you. January 16th before the BOC meeting. This would happen before the newly elected official academy, so you could kind of. A lot of this is going to be repetitive, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So a lot of it depends on would you rather have the information before or after. Another option would be the January 30th before the town hall. And I guess the last option is February 6th before the BOC meeting. So if there are any preferences, let us know and we'll get that scheduled. And that is all I have on City Manager Report. Thank you.
Any questions from the board? Okay, item 8F, that is a new report that I've asked to add to our agenda. And going forward, we have just in the past 2 years really ramped up with great new employees, Zena and Bree, and Keith running the show out there with our parks. And they have put together just some fabulous camps and different opportunities for the children. So I just see it fitting that Bree give a report on the second meeting of the month so that our community knows everything that they can look for and camp-wise and opportunities in the park for children and adults, and show us how to sign up for that. So, Bree, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. 2024 has been an amazing year for the Parks Department in terms of staffing and programming. We have implemented several different program types. We have Camp Bowie. Last year we had 4 different camps. This year we're going to have 6. We've created a Bowie homeschool program. Last year we've had 1 a month, so 3 in total. We've begun doing field trips for school organizations and things like that. Outreach programs where we visit an alternate campus to provide educational programs. Similarly, we'll have partnerships where other people come to Bowie Nature Park to teach educational programs that they've come up with. That also counts as far as organizations like Montgomery Bell State Park and things like that. We have our weekly programs that we call daily programs. We usually have 1 to 2 a week. We have organizational projects, so we partner with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts to fulfill their requirements as far as different badges and things like that. And then we also have volunteer opportunities every now and then. So our 2024 program summary, we've had 4 camps with 42 campers in total. We had 1 spring break camp and 3 summer camps. We've had 9 field trips for different schools across Williamson and Davidson County. We've had 4 outreach programs where we've gone to different locations to teach certain subjects. We've had 4 volunteer opportunities within the park and within Bowie Nature Park and Veterans Park. 4 different partnerships with other individuals or organizations coming to teach programs at our park. We've had 50 daily programs in total, and we hope to increase that next year. We've had 3 Bowie homeschool sessions that had great attendance, and then Zena Williman, park naturalist, and I have completed 12 days of naturalist training, and we are currently getting our volunteer hours wrapped up for that as well. A few different places you can find our advertising would be on Facebook. We have the Bowie Park Facebook page and the Friends of Bowie Nature Park Facebook page. We have the Fairview Park System newsletter that comes out monthly. It has our different program dates and times, as well as some fun facts about changes in nature going on around us and any pertinent park news. That one is from December. The January one will be posted online either tomorrow or next week, depending on staffing availability. If anybody would like to sign up for the newsletter, just email me at bbailey@fairviewtennessee.org, fairview-tn.org. We have our Bowie Nature Park website. All of our newsletters and different event flyers will be posted on there as well. And our flyers are also posted on various information boards around Fairview. Our current promotions, so we are still accepting playground fence picket orders. These will be ongoing and submitted on a regular basis. They'll be installed once we get them back. The fence pickets are $50 each. There are order forms online and at the Nature Center. Nature Center, we accept cash or check, and then you can pay at City Hall for our credit or debit cards. We are accepting volunteer applications for 2025 Camp Bowie. And if anybody is interested in volunteering at other programs throughout the year, you're more than welcome to submit an application. Pretty soon I'll have emails going out to a specific volunteer list for upcoming opportunities. And then the last thing is Camp Bowie registration. So we have 2 mini camps on spring break for 4 and 5-year-olds where one parent's allowed to attend. And then we'll have 4 regular summer camps this year for age groups 6 to 8 and 9 to 12. We're gonna start opening mini camp registration on January 6th. Registration packets are available at the Nature Center, and then summer camp registration will begin on March 3rd. Alrighty, this slide includes a lot of pictures from our summer camps. You can see kids doing various outdoor activities, having fun. Our education staff mission statement still rings true today. The staff is dedicated to inspiring environmental stewardship in the community. By offering hands-on educational programs for all ages, we hope to encourage current and future generations to explore, respect, and protect the natural world. And as you can see, I think we're doing that pretty well. All right, and we would like to thank you all. Thank you to the Board of Commissioners for approving our park budget, allowing us to restart programs and events in the park system. I would like to thank the Fairview Police Department for loaning us like a golf cart vehicle to get our campers to and from the creek for our Nature Scouts camp. Also, the fire department, they assisted us with our water days for each camp, and I think that was a huge hit. The kids loved it. Thank you to the community for all your support. It really does take an entire city. You know, they say it takes a village, but it's obvious it takes an entire city to really make what we have so special. Thank you to the Friends of Bowie Nature Park. They expend so much time and effort fundraising, volunteering for different camps, making sure our projects get completed. They're just a huge help, and we really appreciate all of them. Thank you to our summer camp sponsor, Dos Margaritas. They donated funds to purchase fishing poles for our older camp this year. We purchased 16 fishing poles, and we were able to fish for the first time as a program. So that was really fun. Thank you to all of our program partners, again, partnerships. We've had several individuals come out to the park to teach specific topics they're passionate about and kind of inspire that throughout the community. Several educational partnerships as well. And then thank you to all of our volunteers. We've had a lot this year, from camp volunteers, educational program volunteers, our volunteer naturalist for Bowie Homeschool. She's been wonderful. Again, different programming volunteers with other organizations. We've had several volunteers at the Nature Center coming to take care of the animals and kind of work the front desk. And then again, organizations like Montgomery Bell State Park Aviary, Owls Hill Sanctuary. It's been a great year as far as working together with different partners of the community and other communities as well. And we're very thankful to everybody for helping. All right, and then from the Parks Department, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Yes.
All right, Mayor. I think it's time we stood up and give every one of them a hand tonight. This is the best report that I've heard in many a time.
Absolutely.
It was. Stand up. This is what I envisioned after it was closed down from the COVID, and when we brought it back, this is what I envisioned. We learned a lot here, but the citizens are learning a lot. I get a lot of questions asked, and I invite them to go on YouTube and our channels to watch it here. But I'm so proud of what everybody said here tonight. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions for Bree?
Mayor?
Yes.
Real quick, are the camps, Camp Bowie, do they have fees associated with them for registrants?
Yes, so the fees haven't really changed from last year. The cost for all 4 of the regular summer camps will be $150 per child. We do have Camp Bowie scholarships available. And then for the mini camps that are from 9 a.m. to 12:30, one parent or guardian is allowed to attend, and those will cost $85 per camper. Again, the Camp Bowie scholarships are available for those as well. If you would like to fill out a form for that, there are forms right next to the registration packet in the Nature Center.
Thank you. And is there a way for people to sponsor and to give to the scholarship program?
Absolutely. So we always take donations from the park. If you would like to make a donation in the name of sponsorship, we'll take the donation and then put that, I'm sure, in a specific area for camps to kind of pull out of that as well.
Mayor?
Yes.
So that was a great presentation. No offense to the other departments, but that was awesome. I really appreciated that, and you were very detailed and gave pictures, and it was very insightful. A lot of things that you do post, I echo, and I think a lot of us on the board here as well echo that on Facebook. So whatever you post, most of the time we're going to repost it, and on several different sites as well, just to boost up everything that's going there. One thing that you did miss on that presentation that was really good was the ornament.
I know. We
Yeah.
had such a great turnout for that.
That was, so how many people did you have that registered for that?
We had, I believe, 5 kids registered.
And
for
how
that.
many turned out?
Over 25.
Over 25. I was there, and it was, I mean, just the joy on these kids' faces. I mean, it's just like Shop with a Cop or Duty Ornaments, and something that I would like to see as part of the city, and even being a citizen of the city, is those ornaments that are made to be placed on our Christmas tree outside. That would be awesome, and I think that would even bring more people to making ornaments, and I think it would really involve the community and the kids as well.
For sure. That might be something we can come out and sponsor during the tree lighting or something like that. We'll just bring craft supplies out here and let them do that.
Right, and
So I
also
think that's a
offer,
fantastic
not
idea.
just in the morning to the little kids, but even in the afternoons or even on a Saturday or a night or something like that to older kids as well. I mean, even adults, I think some adults would like to do that. I know well, my wife would make me do it, but I think we would enjoy that. So, but thank you very much to the Parks Department. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And Bree, I want to thank Rachel and Bree and Santa. I'll just say Santa. So I think we know who we want to thank there. So last Friday night we did Pictures with Santa at the Nature Center, and I don't know. I was thinking we might have 25, 30 kids. We had over 100. So we gave out snacks and hot chocolate and candy canes, and then the kids and their parents all got to get pictures with Santa, and Bree and Rachel were elves. Bree has the best elf costume ever. I love it. And it was kind of cool because we had people bring their fur babies and people bring their actual babies, and then older children, adults, and also we had a couple that was just so awesome, brought their actual, what is that called, sonogram, and they got a picture with Santa with the sonogram. So anyway, that it was just a lot of fun, and thank you so much for all of you, and Keith putting that on so that, sometimes children, I know they have Santa at the mall, but, it gets kind of pricey doing it that way. So when we provide pictures with Santa out here, like we did at the Triangle School at the first Saturday, and then also last Friday night at the Nature Center, it just allows for people to get pictures with Santa and not have to, pay such a big price for that. So y'all are doing such a great job, and this was a great addition. I'm so excited. I know that you put it online, but this kind of let us see in pictures exactly what's going on and getting people excited about being involved. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you all.
Item number 9, consent agenda. A, minutes from December 5th, 2024, Board of Commissioner regular meeting.
Approval.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item number 9 passes 4-0. Item number 10, old business. 10A, ordinance 2024-18, an ordinance for an amendment to the City of Fairview, Tennessee budget for fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. I make a motion to defer until we have a full board.
Second.
Anything any of the board members would like to add?
What meeting you want to defer it?
Our next, well, I said till we have a full board, but I assume Commissioner McDonald will be back at our next meeting. Ms. Jones?
Mayor Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Item 10 passes to defer 4-0. Item 11, new business. 11A, discussion. Board of Commissioner calendar for 2025. City Manager, Tom Daugherty. I believe there are 2 dates that we need to take a look at that are in conflict.
Yes, ma'am, and if we can get something resolved tonight, I think Rachel can write up a resolution and we can get this in effect pretty quickly. I mean, we're not in a huge rush. Both of them, one of them is Juneteenth and the other one is July 3rd. But we've got 4 possible solutions. Probably my favorite is cancel the June 19th and July 3rd meetings and schedule a meeting in between for June 26th and kind of have just one for the 2. Second option is kind of the same thing, except cancel June 19th and July 3rd meetings and cancel the July 31st town hall, but replace it with a BOC meeting. And then a third option is reschedule June 19th to June 26th and reschedule July 3rd to July 31st. The thing that it puts a stress on staff when you have a meeting at the very end of the month and then a meeting the first Thursday of the month, we really can't get a lot accomplished. We really need a little more time between meetings, but that is an option. Or you can, the other option is you can reschedule meetings to a different weekday during the week, maybe a Monday or a Tuesday, which is, it's worked out usually better in the past to keep it on a Thursday, but it's totally up to you guys. But it would be whatever y'all want to pull out your calendars and see what y'all think. But that's kind of what we looked at.
It makes no difference to me, so I will let the board decide what they'd like to do.
And may I ask a question, Mayor? This is not going to be responsive to your question, Mr. Doherty, but just another question I have. If I'm looking at this calendar and I know that there's a date that I will not be able to make, is that just something that we talk about later, or is that a thing that I would mention sooner? How do we work that out? Because I mean, I guess there would be an opportunity where maybe another member of the commission can be there also.
I mean, if you know you're not going to be there, a lot of times when we have these discussions, somebody said, well, I've got prior obligations that day. Could we look at another date? Is usually the way it's handled. Or if the majority of the folks say, well, that's the only one that works for us, then they say, well, I just won't be able to make it. But a lot of times, if you let everybody know up front, it's not that big a deal. I think it's pretty much up to you guys what you want to do.
Thank you. Well, I won't raise a new date. We'll deal with the primary issue, but I just wanted to ask that quick question. Thank you.
Can I ask, so are you referring to the dates we're moving, or if you might have a conflict?
This is a totally different date. It's in April that I see on the BOC calendar that I know I can't attend.
I guess what I would say is we always consider a quorum, so the sooner the better, so that we make sure that we have a quorum.
I can mention it after we talk about the first issues, if that would be okay. Okay, thank you. And as far as I like your first, your option of just rescheduling to another night the same week, and I definitely do not want to cancel a town hall. So if we could move meeting for meeting and retain all of our meetings and retain all of our town halls, then that's my preference, please. Otherwise, I'm okay splitting the difference with a June 26th meeting and keeping the town hall on July 31st.
That would be optimal as far as city business, because a lot of times you need a 14-day period in between meetings, especially if you have an ordinance. But we probably could get some business done if we did last week and then the next week, but it will be limited.
That is correct. So I guess what happens there is if we have items on the agenda, such as an ordinance that requires the 14-day in between, we would just have to move them to the next meeting if we add a meeting, and it would just be a limited meeting, probably short meeting.
Well, I guess if this hypothetical, say the June 19th meeting, we move to June 18th, and July 3rd, we move to July 2nd, then that would just still keep all of the difference in dates the same, only it might affect the prior.
We try not to
July
do
17th.
Wednesday nights because of church.
I was just picking hypothetical.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Those were not actual dates, but would there be a concern about that, just moving them to a different day in the same week? Okay, well then that would be my primary vote, but I also defer to what the rest of the commissioners think.
So if you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
As long as it doesn't interfere with a planning commission meeting or, a
Yeah,
BOZA meeting or anything like that.
I don't think either one of these will. So, for instance, if we moved June 19th to June 17th, that would be the Tuesday night of that week. We would make sure that there was enough time if an ordinance were brought up. But what would happen is, like I said, the ordinance would just have to move to the next meeting, and this meeting would just be shorter. But that would be a Tuesday night. If, that works for the board, we could do it on that Tuesday night. The actual planning commission meeting is the 10th.
And then what do you think about July 3rd?
And July 3rd, I guess, if it pleases the board, can move to July 1st. July 8th would be the planning commission meeting. So it would, if it works for the board, we just move the Thursday meeting to Tuesday each week.
I like that.
Just for clarification, the 19th is moved to the 17th, June 19th to June 17th, and then July 3rd to July 1st.
Yes.
I think that's what I heard, right? Is that agreeable? So we'll need to have a motion for that.
Do we want to do a motion for all different dates or just the?
I
dates to
think,
start?
Rachel,
One motion.
let me know if you're wrong, but we'll,
This is just a discussion item. We'll vote on the
So we
actual
won't make a
resolution.
motion. We'll
Yeah.
just, so can we, will we put this for a vote on the next meeting?
yeah, we'll have a
then?
resolution at the next meeting.
And also at that meeting, we can confer with Commissioner McDonald, or Vice Mayor McDonald, sorry. We can confer with him to make sure these dates work, but I think that this being a discussion item, we will just put it on the agenda, Rachel, that we will have the July on July 1st and the June on June 17th. And Mr. Vice Mayor McDonald will be there that night, so he can be a part of the vote if he has any issues with that.
I'd also like to raise a date that I know I cannot attend. And I did look through all these dates, and the only one that I know of a conflict right now is April 17th. So I hope we can perhaps select a different date for that one.
We don't typically move meeting dates that are regularly scheduled because of one commissioner can't attend or two commissioners can't attend. We want to make sure we have a quorum. But if it's just one meeting you're going to miss, that's pretty typical that throughout the year, a commissioner or a planning commissioner may have to miss a meeting. And I would really strongly advise not trying to shuffle meetings based on if there's a vacation scheduled or a business trip or something, because we'll be moving meetings all year long. It will be a disaster, I promise.
Well, thank you, Mr. Carter. That was actually the question that I asked in the beginning, is if that is something that we would do. So that's the only reason I brought it up. And I do remember meetings having been moved in the past because someone couldn't attend. So I thought it was something we did.
Yeah, usually it involves when there's multiple commissioners are going to be out. Like I think in November, we had right around Thanksgiving, because the Thanksgiving holiday, and we had several that were going to be out, and there was concerns whether we'd have a quorum or not. So they elected to move that meeting because of that, but it wasn't just a single one.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, so let's see. Item 11B, discussion, plan review software change. City Planner, Mr. Greer.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple things to show you. We can make all of our technology work. So currently, we use IDT GeoCivics for our plan review software. If you've ever submitted a permit or a development application or rezoning application to the city of Fairview, over the last 6 years, you have used this portal. It is fairly clunky with how it operates. I've talked with several other municipalities in the county who use this. They experience the same troubles that we have as far as some of the back end of the software does not always work as it should. And so I just wanted to walk you through, for those of you who have not seen it, and show you what we are currently using, and then I have a short demo video of what we are will be proposing to move to. So currently, you would submit a project. You would pick your application category. For this, we will do a building permit. You select your building permit. It's fairly cumbersome with how it is. type in your project name. Currently with our program, you can search by project name and project identification number once it has been accepted. You cannot search by the applicant's name, which seems fairly common that you should be able to search by the applicant's name because everyone comes in, they don't remember exactly what they named their project, and no one keeps up with the 8-digit number of what the project number is, except for us in our office. You walk through a checklist of all the different items that you need. You never see this checklist after this point. So for an applicant to make sure they get all of the proper documents that we need in our office, they either need to print this page or continue to go back and forth between pages once they get further down in the process of actually submitting documents. There are multiple items that they have to submit throughout here. And then you get into project address, all of the owner information, the existing use, all of those items. This currently allows for the address to go in and be confirmed that it is within the municipality. But once that address is in, there is no future to be able to look specifically at that address and find out what permits and what items have been actually pulled on that particular address without knowing the project name or project number. There are all different kinds of items that go through. It's multiple pages. It's very clunky, is what I'm getting to. Show you a quick demo video. We're going to hopefully make this work.
Hey there, my name is Troy. I'm the founder and CEO of GovWell, and I just wanted to give a 2-minute overview of our product and kind of some of the things that it can do. So the first thing that we can do for government agencies is we can set up a public portal that makes it really easy for your citizens to access essential services, including building permit applications, development applications like land use applications. I'm checking on the status of their projects, scheduling inspections, estimating fees, applying for business licenses. So there's a whole host of services that we can enable for your jurisdiction. But in this example, I'm going to walk through how our system works for a building permit application, which is one of the more common use cases for GovWell. So first of all, citizens can go in and apply for an application or apply for a permit here. And they can see all the different types of permits that you offer at your jurisdiction. And if they want to apply for something, they can click on one of these permits, see more info on when it's required and what they're going to need to submit that application successfully. And then they can go ahead and fill out this form. Now, GovWell forms are completely customizable, so you can include as many fields or required kind of inputs as you need, whether it's the job address or the construction value. And we can also connect with your GIS so that we can pull in information like the parcel number or the property owner for your records. And then we've got an option for applicants to upload files and submit those along with their application as well. And so, yeah, folks can submit those applications like that, and then they'll get a confirmation number as well as an email where they can track their application, just like you would an Amazon package or a UPS package. On the staff side of things, we've got a completely different app that works alongside the portal that allows staff to efficiently review new applications for permits, for licenses, and to move them through your workflows. So here we're looking at an overview of all of the permits that have been applied for. We've got some permits that require immediate attention We've got a list of all of our permits here, but let's just jump in as an example into the first permit. Now, when we're in this permit, you can see we've got a pretty simple and clean user interface. You're able to see the details on the permit, check out some of the files that have been uploaded, see a history of the property, see a history on the permit, and then you're able to move this permit through your workflow. And these workflows are also highly customizable. So you can customize this according to the project type. If it's a re-roofing permit or a subdivision, whatever your project is, whatever your workflow is, we can accommodate that in GovWell through our highly flexible and customizable workflow builder. And so that's just a quick overview of what the interface looks like. Of course, if you want to learn more, you can reach out by clicking the book a demo button.
That gives you a kind of a brief overview of how their system flows. It is a one-page application that you don't have to click through multiple pages. At the bottom of the application, it has all of the required documents listed as individual Dropbox icons. So if it needs the Williamson County privilege tax receipt, it will say Williamson County privilege tax receipt, and you will drop that file into that particular box. It also, looking at things from a financial perspective, we would be looking at signing a 5-year contract with them. Our original contract with GeoCivics was 5 years. When I came on, I inherited GeoCivics from our previous staff. From our experience with it, it is not the most fluid program, and we have had several challenges dealing with that on a day-to-day basis. And so for the future of GeoCivics, we're currently on a 1-year extension to our contract, our original contract. But moving forward, GeoCivics would be approximately $26,000 a year to remain a client of theirs. If we are to make a change, the contractual price with GovWell would be $22,000 per year. And that price would be locked in for the 5-year contract. So it would remain $22,000 a year for the next 5 years. And so I wanted to have this as a discussion topic on here tonight, just to try and hit kind of the high-level items prior to bringing in a contract that you all would authorize the mayor to sign, and find out kind of what you would like to know about how it works, or anything that you would like to know. That way I'm informed and have those questions answered for you once we get to that point.
What I do know is I get calls daily about how not user-friendly and hard to use the IDT program is. It's really exciting that this will save taxpayers money and also make it easier for them to navigate. I typically come and sit down and discuss with you things that are going on in development and different projects, but this is something that I feel like I would, even with the background in architecture and engineering, this is something that I would use, because I saw just from what you showed how much more user-friendly it is, and I think it'd be an easier process for, and less calls on my, coming to me with issues. So I think it's great. Thank you for looking into that.
The amount of the citizens that come into our office who struggle to file simple applications, say they want to redo their deck on their back porch. We should have a software system that's simple and easy to use from a citizen perspective, but also it provides a whole lot of data for our side as far as tracking codes concerns on properties, applications on properties. It'll allow us to, if a new home is built, we will have the residential building permit in there, and then anything that's subsequent to that will be attached to that same map and parcel number. And on the department side use, it'll have a GIS map where you can click on the parcel and see every single item that's related to that. Mr. Daugherty?
Yes, and Ethan's been looking at this for quite some time, and I've sat through a couple of presentations. But two of the things that kind of concerned me, what the price was good, but we were stuck with IDT and growing as we grow, having users. It was going to cost us $2,500 additional user, and I was also concerned about retaining data. So they've checked those two boxes, and so it's unlimited users, $22,000 flat, and we can add a user every day if we want to. But anyway, those are two things that jumped out at me.
IDT currently charges us 12 licenses for our city employees. Citizens are able to have free accounts. This would allow citizens to continue to have free accounts, and then it has unlimited seats for City of Fairview employees to be able to access. And through that, our current IDT process, it has 12 seats, and each additional seat is about $2,500 per person per year. And so, looking to fully utilize IDT, currently we're at 26,000. We're probably really looking at, adding at least 2 more people to that to get full utilization out of that program. So this significantly reduces the costs in that regard. But this also works interdepartmentally. There are some abilities that our administrative side can use as far as business licenses goes. It also works for our public works side, our codes department, our engineering, and our planning department. So there are multiple city departments that will be able to utilize this, and then with the unlimited amount of city department chairs on there, it will be better utilized across the city, saving the taxpayers some money, but also providing them a better quality of service.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Greer, is this also compatible with day-to-day operations? If say you're a citizen, you want to pull up the agenda, or you want to look at videos, or just different things for planning department, if you wanted to post things on there, is it able to be utilized for that as well? By the way, I do think it's a great idea, and I do commend you for saving the city $5,000+ a year. So thank you for that.
You would not be able to access like city agendas and items like that. This would be a portal particularly for citizens to turn items into the city. So building permits, development applications, code complaints, public works and street department concerns. If there's a pothole on 7100 Horn Tavern Road, you could submit that in. We could assign that to Public Works, and they would get a notification, hey, I need to go look at 7100 Horn Tavern Road. Currently, we use a fairly antiquated system of word of mouth in our office, and we communicate to the Public Works Department of the phone calls that we get in. But this would allow them an opportunity to have it on a phone or iPad device with them that they currently utilize for the city, and be able to access it while they're out. Say they're out doing right-of-way mowing, and they get a notification and say, hey, I'm already on Horn Tavern. Let me go look at this real quick while I'm out here.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's all I have. I had another question. I totally forgot my train of thought.
Mayor? Thank you, Mr. Greer. This seems great. I'm all for new technology that helps streamline processes. And I think you answered this question, but is there currently software being used by those other departments, like the business licenses and public works and engineering and codes?
Currently, engineering, our building inspections, codes department, and planning and engineering utilize IDT. Public Works does not utilize a system to be able to electronically turn something in without email. And then our business license department, Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is a application that's done here at City Hall currently.
A paper application, yes, nothing electronic.
Wow. Okay. Good. Good. Yes. I like going into the electronic. This will make your job probably a whole lot easier also and keep good records. And so that was another question I had is if there's going to be any sort of data transfer concern, but it doesn't sound like
So
that.
there is a implementation period. Our current contract with GeoCivics would expire on June 30th. That is why we're looking at it now instead of at June 30th. There is an implementation period of about 3 months where GovWell would pull all of the data from GeoCivics and move that over to GovWell. So our data transfer would happen during that piece prior to the switch to the new platform. And that would maintain all of our current records that we have on GeoCivics IDT.
That's great. And then GovWell has no problem giving you full access to your data after. So if you moved out of their contract, it would be easy enough to.
That's correct.
Okay. That sounds like a really big improvement that can streamline things for everybody.
And just so that you know, we didn't just look at one item. I've been in our city manager's ear for, 8, 9, 10, 12 months, looking at different programs. I've sat through 4 or 5 different demos with different companies and looked to kind of see what we could utilize. We do have a limited funds and try to spend those as equitably as possible for what we need, but also protect the citizens of the community. And so throughout that process and kind of eliminating and liking some items and trying to find something else that there were, I believe, 4 different demos that I sat through and conversations that I've had with different companies trying to find something that would work best for our city, our community, and have it make sense for financial sense of what we have to offer.
Have you spoken with any other clients of GovWell?
I have. I spoke with a town. Oh, goodness. I used to live right outside of this town, Hampton, Georgia. They're a small municipality. They're right outside of Atlanta. They're about the same size as Fairview. And I asked how they like it and if they've had good success with this, and then particularly with their IT back end, make sure that all of that works. And they have been overjoyed with making their switch to GovWell from their planner's perspective. And then also, just a side note of things that I have in my head of floating around, IDT currently works on an iPad and a desktop device. It does not work. It works barely on an iPhone or an Android device. Most people definitely in the building world who are submitting for inspections on a daily basis, most of them are operating on a mobile device, not an iPad. And so this software actually works on an iPhone, Android, iPad, any of the tablets, and then also on the desktop. And so it provides a little bit more flexibility for any internet user versus just having to have a desktop or an iPad.
And what does continuing IT support look like after the 3-month onboarding period?
So they have part of it's full service IT support. They have a policy within their company to respond to you within 5 minutes. They also have an AI chat bot that allows for the citizens, if they have a question throughout the process of filling out an application, they can ask the AI chatbot, and it has pre-programmed information in there to help them fill out their application.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Mayor?
Yes.
So piggybacking off of that program that you guys are talking about, I think it's a fabulous idea. It's great. I think it's very user friendly. Something else that we could really use, and this is more so for the city manager. Like I'm on the website a lot, on our Fairview website, and it's just sometimes it's just not user friendly, especially for older people that are not, or even younger people that are not computer savvy. It's hard to find things, and it brings you, your search bar brings you to a Google search basically. I was just curious if there was any conversation about perhaps updating that to a different, maybe adding a better program to the website, more so for organization on administration levels, by putting agendas out there for the Planning Commission, for the Board of Commissioners, for all of the boards, and just more information at probably easier with a click of a button instead of, I mean, all of these papers and staples and ink being used. We can use our iPads that were issued, and it would just be more user-friendly for everyone. I don't know if that was a conversation that had been had, or if that's something that can happen. Not to take the thunder away from planning, because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we can definitely discuss our website. I would love to, we can sit down with our host and see what you would like to see, but I feel like, let's just double check and make sure we know exactly what we want to, but I think we can handle that outside of a meeting.
One of the things that GovWell asked, and I wanted to make sure to bring up in this discussion, is would you like to have a work session with them, or would you like to have a demo, a live demo where you can ask questions back and forth with their representative at a future date? The mayor, you were shaking your head yes.
Suggest a workshop or a demo?
It would be a demo during the workshop.
During the workshop,
They are not
okay.
located locally, so it would be utilizing some kind of virtual meeting setup.
Yes.
Let us know.
Okay. Mayor?
Yes.
One more item. So with that, you had mentioned about a chatbot. Is it possible, because I know a lot of chatbots have like the pictures that pop up, could we get a picture of Ethan when it pops up?
Commissioner, I respectfully decline your offer to have that as an option on there. But that's all I have for that discussion of that item. If y'all don't have any more questions, I will get a virtual demo scheduled, and we can have that potentially January 2nd, I believe, is that next meeting. So
do we want to wait until after, I guess, to put this on the agenda for a vote?
yes,
Okay.
we don't have a work session scheduled for the 2nd, do we? Beer board at what time? Could we do 6 o'clock for a work session and then do a beer board at 6:45?
How long will it take for them to go through the demo, do you know?
Their typical demo is about 30 minutes.
Okay, so since
But
we have a beer
We could probably
board,
give a shortened version of that.
since we have a beer board before the January 2nd at 6:45, then we would have enough time to do 6 PM for this workshop. And then we could add it to the agenda, Rachel, for a vote that night.
Mayor,
Yes.
was there one more question though? Was there something?
I was just going to commend Ethan. He's been very diligent in finding a good program for the city. I mean, cost is one thing, but I'm a stickler for plan review. I'm very big on organization, and he's convinced me on this one. So I think it's a great choice for the city.
And I don't disagree with that. I think we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We'll probably need to get some input, but then try to get a contract with them, have legal, go over that, and then bring it to y'all for a vote. So I think probably needs to hold off on unless you want to have a resolution giving us authority to go ahead and do it. But I think all we need to do is bring y'all the resolution, and then y'all approve it. Usually how we do it in the past.
Yes, they'll have a contract that they want to use, and so I'll review that and amend it as necessary, and then bring it with a resolution for you all to approve. I think that's the better order of operation.
Is the 2nd too soon then? We could
do a workshop on the 2nd, but I think we could have a contract ready by the 2nd meeting of January.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't look like that's possible, then we can always move it to the next meeting, but Ethan can be asking them for their form contract in anticipation that we'll move ahead. If we have the workshop and for some reason it doesn't go as planned, then we don't have to consider the contract, and Ethan will need to move on and find another service for us to consider. But he can go ahead and get the contract that they would propose, so I can be looking at it.
Well, Ethan, why don't you handle that part of it and add it to the agenda after that's taken care of?
I will take care of that.
Thank
I
you.
already have the form contract. I wanted to find out how this discussion was going to go tonight, and then I'll send it over to Patrick.
Anything other than IDT would be wonderful for me. So I'm excited. Thank you.
It also is utilized by our planning commission for us to send documents back and forth for them to have opportunity to review those documents prior to coming in. So there are a whole lot of different people in the city organization that utilize the program. And we hear the same concerns and complaints from every single person that logs in. So
Yes.
thank you all. We can go to 11C.
11C, discussion permit fee and review fee updates. Mr. Greer.
All right, I laid out some large pieces of paper in front of you because I needed to be able to see it. So I wanted to provide you, we're looking at increasing our permit fees and our review fees for our planning and engineering and codes department. Our last fee increase was in October of 2019. That was 5 years ago. Throughout the process, myself, Curtis, and Will Owen and Kevin Chasteen with Griggs and Maloney all participated in kind of putting this together. They operate in several municipalities, and so they have some local knowledge that are outside of the city of Fairview. The cities that were considered while adjusting our fees were Brentwood, Franklin, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, Nolensville, the cities within our county, Dixon, Columbia, and Mount Juliet for being local to Middle Tennessee and outside of Williamson County. And then we also compared to Alcoa, Tennessee, which is a municipality that is about 16,000 people. They're located right outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, so close to a larger municipality, but on kind of the outskirts. And so that they have similar demographics. You look across Middle Tennessee and rates are inflated significantly just based on being in Middle Tennessee. And so I wanted to try to pull one city that wasn't around here, but close in demographics to make sure that we weren't shooting for the moon on some of these items. With both of, I don't anticipate you necessarily having a whole lot of questions tonight. This is more for an information session, and then if you have questions, please feel free to get with me. We will be looking to have this on an agenda in January for a voting item. This would be a municipal code change in Title 12 is currently where our fee schedule is held. And so it would take 2 readings for that code change to happen. It would be in an ordinance, and this would be laid out very similarly to how you see it today. Currently, our review fees are in what is mostly the yellow column. Everything that is in yellow has been changed. Everything that is just a regular white box has not been changed. And then our projected fee schedule is what you see in the main 2 columns with how each item is titled and labeled, and then what the new fee would be if approved. Some of the items that I would like to note is back in January of '24, we approved, the board approved a code change to the 1 and 2 family residential building permits from $1.50 to $1.85 per square foot under roof. That revenue is allocated 42% to the general fund, 42% to facilities, and 16% to the Parks and Recreation Fund. That item has not changed. However, currently, we combine multifamily, attached dwelling, commercial, and industrial all within one category on our existing fee schedule. With this new proposal, we have separated those into two different categories. And that same fee structure, the $1.85 per square foot for 5,001 square feet plus buildings for multifamily and attached dwellings, would be allocated the same as 42% to the general fund, 42% to the facilities fund, and 16% to the Parks and Recreation Fund. Mr. Daugherty could probably speak on the ability that we've been able to bring into the parks based on the residential building permits and the financial ability that the park has based on those. As I gave out my numbers earlier, we've had 166 residential building permits issued this year, and 16% of those funds have gone into the park fund. And so looking to try and increase that availability as we have grown our park system to multiple parks, and then also trying to make sure that the community members that are moving here to utilize the parks during their construction of their new homes will be paying for part of our parks to be maintained and improved. And so throughout the list, there are multiple small changes. The one question that I do have, and several other municipalities throughout their processes of going through this, they typically use, for their permit fees, they would use like a 2,000 square foot home and kind of show what it would cost to build that today versus what it would cost to build that with the future proposal. Is there a particular item that you would like to see as far as a basis of understanding for, a couple more columns on this beautiful sheet that would explain any further what the actual fee update would do to some of these items?
Mayor?
Yes.
The only question I have, which I don't see it here, but I don't know, why do we charge for a yard sign for a garage sale?
That is actually located within our zoning ordinance. This is located within our municipal code. This fee structure is located within the municipal code. The zoning ordinance currently holds all of the sign regulations. And it is not, you can purchase signs for yard sales, but we charge a yard sale permit fee to host a yard sale. And there's actually a code within the municipal code that says each residence can only host 4 yard sales per year. And so to be able to track that, the fee for hosting an actual yard sale, I believe, is like $7. And then the additional signs that are purchased at the same time as the first yard sale of the year, they receive 3 signs, and it's a $20 fee. But there's the basis for it is tracking to make sure that we aren't issuing more permits than what the code allows.
I'm just saying, so a lot of people, some people have yard sales just to generate revenue for themselves, because some people are not fortunate enough to be able to afford to do things. So sometimes they sell things. So what I'm saying is there an opportunity for someone who does have financial issues, if they can't afford that. I know it's $7 or, but it all adds up if they want to do more than one. Is there a way if they put a deposit and then they can get the deposit back just to keep track of a permit?
Currently, there is not. That can be something that we look at in our new zoning ordinance rewrite, or if you'd like to address that prior to that document being adopted, I'm more than happy to sit down with you and go through that and work through that process of adoption.
Okay, one more question is, if we have a developer or someone doing construction and they're under the current fees right now and they have to amend their drawings or anything that's going on and they have to reapply, do they get grandfathered into the old rate, or do they have to pay the new fees?
That depends on how you would like the ordinance change written. Uh, If you would like to have the ordinance written to go into effect immediately, or you could have it written to be able to allow for those projects, existing projects, to remain under the previous rules.
Thank
Do you have a preference?
No,
Commissioner?
I was just asking a question. That was it.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Greer, I would like to see an example, if you could, maybe of something that's been recently built or is currently being built, and then what that would be, so we could see just a fee cost for 2 different residences, and maybe a couple of different types would be helpful. If it's not a lot of work, I don't want you to jump through too many hoops on this one.
The thing that I typically use is I kind of look at most of our developments. Most of our developments that are coming, the majority of them are typically they're right around 25 to 30 acres, and they typically hold about 40 homes. And so I can use that as kind of a basis of example for the review fee schedule. And then I can run through kind of what we've seen on a typical standard for multifamily. Most of those buildings are over 5,000 square feet when it comes to apartments or townhomes. And then for some of the items, they're fairly self-explanatory. You know, they're flat rate fees as far as like pools and decks, detached garages. The renovation permits, those are really dependent upon how many square feet they're renovating within a house. If they're doing a small kitchen renovation, or if they're, gutting an entire existing home. So those kind of vary a little bit. But from a development standpoint, it's fairly easy. I would use the example of probably a 30-acre lot with 40 homes on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's typically kind of the sizing that we have seen.
So maybe just one sort of thought that I just had while you were talking, if we were to look at like what a renovation would cost, if you have easily at your fingertips, what was the most common home renovation that people in Fairview did, and then just use that as an example for what a renovation would cost from the previous to the proposed, and that might give us an idea just for the highest number of affected homes.
Okay, I can do that. Mayor, Mr. Hall, do you have any questions or anything that you would like to see moving forward?
Well, so if we did away with the permit fee for the garage sale signs, I would like to see that we keep tracking it, because those of us who've lived here more than 10 years will remember the property that is near the high school on the right that had a garage sale, large garage sale every weekend, and backed up traffic. It was just a nightmare getting off of 100 into the garage sale and back out onto 100, and the traffic got stopped right there because they did this every weekend, and the garage sale was so large, and it looked like they were gathering, and it was just a really, I think that might have been one of the reasons. I wasn't on the board then, but it might have been one of the reasons that they started doing that, because that was happening every single weekend right there on 100 near the schools.
There are several local municipalities within the Middle Tennessee region that limit yard sales significantly more than what we do to 4 times per year. Franklin in specific only gives out 2 yard sale permits per year per home. And so there are some very specific examples of limiting that as far as their zoning goes and their municipal code goes. And so I'm more than happy to look into that as we dig more into the zoning ordinance and looking at sign regulations and permitting for those operations. But those are not within the municipal code fee schedule that for this discussion. But
I
I'm more than happy
apologize,
to look
but
at it.
yes, okay, you're right.
Mayor? Part of that, back then, Ethan, was more or less where we'd have a legible sign advertising a garage sale rather than the homeowner putting a sign that they put up there that you couldn't read, and people would stop trying to read it, and it would cause the area that the mayor's talking about. I was very aware of that one for a long time. Nothing against them having a garage sale, but as long as it's a legible sign and not a hand-printed sign, sometimes they're little, and the people would stop trying to read it, and it was causing a safety hazard. So I would like to continue seeing at least the signs that we furnish for that $7. I think 20 outset. But I would personally like to see that stay in place.
Yes, sir. One other additional item on the fee schedule before you. We would be looking at, within the ordinance, putting in some language about when the fees are paid. Currently, our fees are flexible in payment options. I would like to see the county, several other municipalities within the county require the fee to be paid at the time of application. And the application is not reviewed or taken in for review until those fees are paid. And so, for an example, Curtis and I may look through a residential building permit, review that, spend our time and effort reviewing that, making comments, looking through, comparing that to our codes, comparing that to the International Building Code. And then the builder says, hey, actually, I'm not going to build that house. I'm going to build a different house. That is time and effort that is expended by our city employees. That is not compensated by the applicant who's asking for us to spend that time. In several other municipalities, they require that the fees be paid on the front end versus on the back end of picking up the permit or application at that point. And then there's one other piece of the ordinance that we'd be looking to add is to have a fee update based on the construction cost index for every 3 years for the fees to update and raise based on the construction cost index. And that's also a fairly common piece that is utilized, so that fees are raising not based on an arbitrary number, but based on a specific percentage that is issued by several different companies that put together construction cost index across the nation, so that we are staying in alignment with what the rising costs are.
So we would make those non-refundable.
That we are working out. I've got some questions for a couple of the
Because if they're paid up
localities who are
front and
paying this.
y'all do all this work and then they're refundable, that kind of doesn't work that way. So if we're going to have them come in up front, I would say they need to be non-refundable so that it covers everything you've had to, all the work y'all have had to do.
There are a few fees, like, for example, the largest fee on here is an annexation and plan of services for property located outside of the urban growth boundary. That fee of $2,000 is the largest fee that we have within this. And the process of that, there are multiple meetings and items that would have to take place for even an annexation outside of the urban growth boundary to take place, but to be able to functionally plan and use that time, that requires all of the county mayors to be in one room voting on an item for that to happen. And so there has to be fees that are paid for the room expense and having a meeting and all of those items that would need to be covered on the front end. Even if it's voted down at a meeting, those fees still need to be paid on the front end.
And Mr. Carter, can you weigh in on fees being retroactive? What we were talking about, if someone has already, okay, so to your point, if the fees are paid up front, before this gets approved and we're in process, I don't think we could go back and have them pay the new or the updated fees.
I just think the ordinance needs to state whatever it is that we're going to do. They're not, it wouldn't be covered by vested property rights because they're not development standards. So I think the ordinance, whatever it is, can specify how that's handled. I mean, I personally wouldn't think it was fair to go backwards once someone's already applied. But Ethan will, I think that's something that the development team needs to consider, and then they'll have a recommendation for it. And I'll be happy to share my thoughts with them before it comes back to you. That
Because
answers your
I
question.
can understand if the fees are not paid on the front end, like us adjusting the fees and it, if they're paid. But if they're paid on the front end and they've already paid them.
Yeah, if they have an application in process currently, this would not apply. But if a new development comes in post the adoption of this fee schedule, then they would be subject to this fee schedule. But if they have an application in process, they are currently within our process and their fees have been applied based on our current process.
I think I was addressing kind of what you were saying.
Right. I think that what Don was saying earlier, the question was not about if they were moving forward, there wouldn't be a change, but it was if they went back and wanted to change, like they wanted to change what they were building and redo the entire design.
Okay.
And then it would be like a new application, and then that could potentially be subject to the new fee schedule because it would be a new application because it would be a total redesign.
Yeah.
But not if
I
they
can-
were going
I can
forward.
understand that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking if somebody has paid their fees and then we're in the midst of this, I wouldn't want to go back and make them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't, if they've already paid their whatever fee, there shouldn't be an increase if they've already paid for their particular project. But if they have an additional project is a new project that they submit, then that would be subject to the new fee schedule.
I think it's the application date. I mean, this probably goes beyond, Ethan, what you were trying to accomplish tonight, so I don't want to belabor it, but it comes down to the application date. So if the application is received after the new fee schedule, then they should be subject to the new fee schedule. If it's received before, then they should be subject to the old fee schedule.
Mayor? Yes. So this should be discussed also with TPUDC for our ordinances, is that correct? So that it's included in that next phase that we're going through?
So this would be within our municipal code. They are currently working on our zoning ordinance. The way that this is laid out throughout the fee schedule and the review fee schedule, the terminology that's used within the review fees items, those would be applicable to any projects that came under the regulations that TPUDC would be working on. And so I've specifically denoted the exact language that we will be using within our new development code so that our language is consistent moving forward, whereas in the past it has not always been as consistent.
Mayor?
Yes.
I think this will be a quick question, but I just wanted to make sure to get this out there. So with the construction cost index guide, if we were to go in that direction and the fee structure would be updated every 3 years, then that would be consistent with industry standards. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that would be consistent with industry standards.
And that would help with some clarity, and the developers would know what to expect, and that would also give us a reliable budget line to anticipate what we could see coming in as far as the revenues off of those fees. Is that correct?
Yes and no. There's a lot of things in construction that depend directly on the economy, so
Right.
it would give you a rough idea of what the fees would increase, and then you'd have to look at kind of the economic side of it to how, are builders building, or is the economy slowed down, all of those items
Right.
to be able to determine, kind of a projection of a forecast.
But based on applications that come in, if they move forward, then you could project off of that, and you would know
Yes.
it would go up by 3.5%. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. I will have some more information for you as far as the columns go and what to use for that. And then I will be moving this into ordinance form into the January month, and we will be making some decisions at that point. But thank you all for your input tonight.
Thank you. Item 11D, Resolution 58-24, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor to execute the site development agreement contract for Sherwin-Williams. City Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the site development agreement for Sherwin-Williams. Excuse me. It's consistent of one commercial building, and it's for a project that will require a site reclamation bond in the amount of $76,515. Again, this is a standard document we always bring forward to the Board of Commissioners for approval. Excuse me. And then I just want to make note that on page 10 of the document, we have struck through, there was an old development name left behind. We have struck through and corrected that to the correct development name, which is SHW Fairview LLC.
Mayor, this is a pro forma for the new commissioners. This is a pro forma site development agreement. There's nothing special about it. It's required by our zoning, or not our zoning code, our development code. I review them, but there's really nothing other than the name changes and the bond amounts and those things change. But
The project's already been approved.
truly nothing, I just want to assure you, there's nothing really special about this agreement other than that we're required to have it.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
And we have a representative sitting there if anyone has any questions.
Are y'all aware of where it's going to be placed?
Yeah, Tractor Supply.
Typically, we don't have representatives come for the site development
I'm
agreement.
sorry.
We
Okay,
don't,
guys.
we don't have a representative tonight, but the developer has signed the document as his representation of that they have received, read, and agreed to the site development agreement.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 11D passes 4-0. Item 11E, Resolution 59-24, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor to execute the assignment and assumption agreement for Bowie Meadows Phase 1. City Engineer.
Go ahead, and I'll back clean up if you need me to.
So, just to give a little background, we had a previous site development agreement that was approved under a different developer. That developer has sold that development to another developer, and so we're simply just transferring the site development agreement to that developer. Correct, in the bonding requirement itself. And so this is just an assignment and assumption agreement that they assume all responsibilities. Patrick can add anything to that, but it's he's reviewed it. So yeah, that's if you have any questions about it, I'll try my best.
It just places the obligation on the new developer. We're to approve them and not unreasonably withhold them unless there's some particular reason. I see no reason to withhold the assumption and assignment here. So they're agreeing to all the same conditions that the original developer agreed to.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Buffalini, Commissioner Buff, is probably a point of order, motion to approve
Motion to approve.
would be, otherwise it leaves us to guess what the motion's for. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 11E passes 4-0. Item 11F, Resolution 60-24, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign a proposal with the Tennessee Department of Transportation for a roadway improvement project. City Planner Ethan Greer.
The proposal from TDOT is for a sidewalk project that has been long awaited. This project started back in 2017, and they are finally ready to put the project out for bid in May. The proposal essentially, it's fairly long, but essentially it states that TDOT will install the sidewalks per the plans, and it will be the city's responsibility to maintain the sidewalks if there were ever any problems with the sidewalk. It is currently the same proposal that they use for all municipalities across with their projects. We currently maintain all of the sidewalks along Highway 100. We utilize our ADA funds and sidewalk funds to fix any of the issues that present themselves along Highway 100 on those sidewalks. This would be a continuation of those sidewalks down from Bowie Lake Road all the way to the rec center. And the city would maintain those sidewalks in perpetuity. And so this is just a document that says that. They are awaiting our acceptance of this to help them move forward on their project as well.
Mayor, Commissioners, this is what lawyers call a contract of adhesion, meaning there's not really any negotiation to be done. It's a form contract published by TDOT. We either want them to put the sidewalks in and we agree to maintain them, or we don't get sidewalks, so.
You, Mayor?
Yes.
Just to, so we know what we're going to be looking at with the sidewalks, are they on both sides of the road?
There are portions that are only on single sides of the road to allow for a future expansion of Highway 100. TDOT felt that it was best to not put down sidewalks and then in the future rip them back up to expand Highway 100. And so there are some sections where it is along both sides of the highway, and then in some sections there are, it's kind of where the two-lane sections are, where it's not expanded currently. It's along one side of the road.
Thank you.
Mayor? I believe it's all, most of it's on the north side of 100. I believe, or northwest, however you want to put it, mostly.
Correct.
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts.
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 11F passes 4-0. Item 11G, Resolution 61-24, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, authorizing Piedmont Natural Gas and Team Construction LLC to perform open cut excavation along Northwest Highway. City Engineer.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. As you mentioned, this is going to be a gas line that is going to be coming from Highway 96 down to the south to Northwest Highway to numerous developments that are ongoing. Woodwood Cove, Belvoir, Orange-Shire, numerous others. And as you can see here, they've displayed kind of the points in which they'll be open cutting, the points in which they'll be in grass. I believe they've tried to not open cut as much as possible. It's not preferred by anyone to have open cuts in paved roadways, but they have to in some cases to other existing utilities or whatnot. And I do believe there is a representative here tonight to answer any questions about specific items about construction and the decision-making involved. Piedmont Natural Gas is the applicant, along with Team Construction, who's the contractor that's hired by Piedmont. But if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Prior to asking any questions of the representatives tonight, we did have one of these on our last meeting, and there was definitely a push to try and make sure that anything is done prior to the city paving project. Northwest Highway is on the paving list to be paved. This project will be completed for open cuts, if approved, prior to Northwest Highway being paved. And so there were some concerns of that. And then there's also, I don't know, it's the current Northwest Highway, the 90-degree turn there in the corner. That piece of Belvoir Drive, once Belvoir is moved forward in a further stage of development, that piece is actually going to be paved as well. And so that was part of the development agreement with that particular developer with the city. And so that will be paved as well. And so all of their open cuts, their 3 locations in this case, will be performed prior to any paving is taking place.
And just, give me just one more thing I just want to add. Not all open cuts come to the Board of Commissioners. There's specific criteria in which it does come to the Board of Commissioners. So if the proposed pipeline, cable, or conduit has a nominal diameter greater than 12 inches, it does not have to go to the Board of Commissioners. If a connection is required to an existing pipeline, cable, or conduit within the limits of the road or street pavement, in the opinion of the Public Works Director, the location of other existing infrastructure makes boring, jacking, or tunneling not safe or not practical, or if an emergency repair is required. So if all of those are not met, it has to go to the Board of Commissioners to be approved by you all to be open cut on our public roads.
Mayor, just the one cut that's coming, if that is a cut, from across 96.
We have no control over the state Route
Right.
96. That would be the Tennessee Department of Transportation, and they would be seeking a permit from TDOT for that work done along the highway.
That was my question.
Our particular locations are the ones in yellow at the intersection of Dice Lampley and Northwest Highway, at the intersection of current Northwest Highway and Orangeshire Development and the Woodwick Development.
Mayor? Yes. I'm very familiar with this part of town, and I'm not sure who the appropriate person is to answer this question. It's already a bit clogged up at times with the current construction traffic, vehicles parked on Northwest Highway, which essentially takes it down to one lane, and a little bit dicey to get through sometimes. So I'm curious how that will be worked out with the current construction projects going on an already narrow and very bendy road, and if the road will still be open for us to get out to Highway 96 that way. So just kind of how that'll work for everybody who's going to have to use that road to get to and from where they're going.
Absolutely. Ethan made a good point. We can mention the working hours that are allowed in our municipal code. So it's 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And as far as traffic goes, they are required to always have one lane of traffic open at all times. That is a requirement of municipal code. So they provide a traffic control plan with flaggers and whatnot, and detail that specifically for what they need to do. So that's our way of combating that problem. Things do happen, but that's got to get ahead of it as much as we can.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that that same issue doesn't happen, what just happened on Chester, that we just literally paved it and they just cut the road open.
That's not the final coat.
No, I'm aware.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's not the final coat. So when they put the final coat in, it will, that will not be like it is right now. But I did want to point out that they did a great job with, I live down Chester, and they did a great job with the flaggers and, doing one lane and the other lane, and I never had an issue getting to work or anything, so it worked out really well.
The representatives tonight are also here if you have any questions for them. I think one of the things they may speak on, if y'all want to come up, there's a great opportunity for Piedmont Natural Gas to help improve their system with this expansion. This is a main line coming down from Highway 96 at a regulator station. that allows several different developments to tie in and gets them closer to being able to have a looped system to where they don't only get pressurized gas from only one direction and be able to loop their system to be able to have backup systems in case one side of it has a leak or something goes down. And so it's definitely has a lot of benefit to the community as a whole, particularly the Wynwood Park, Polston Place neighborhood and Stable Acres across the street, that kind of area where they're only fed from the Cox Pike side. This would help bring gas in from the other side to backfeed that. And so there's a lot of benefit from the whole community side, and especially toward their system, bringing in a main line down Northwest Highway.
I've had a lot of citizens reach out and want to tie on, so they're excited about this line going in.
I'm Brennan Anthony. I'm the project manager for this project. Thank y'all for having us tonight. Y'all have any questions for me that I could answer?
I have a question. I don't know if it's directly to you or in general. So a couple of people that live on Chester had reached out to me already, and they're having issues getting into their driveways because of the way it was paved. I guess there's additional bumps now, and their driveway was already steep, and now it's a little steeper. Three homes as of right now that I know of.
Is that from the city paving project or from their particular work with
That I
their
don't know.
gas line?
That I don't know.
If you could find out a
It's
little
on
bit more
off of Little.
information. I
It's
would
off of
be-
Little John.
Little John. I don't believe y'all cross Little John. You're on the other side of the road.
Right.
That could be potentially from the city paving project. So
Okay.
if you could check into the exact location, I can get you a better answer on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
And this will sound like a repetitive question that was just answered by our city planner and our city engineer, but just to ask you also, there are several construction projects happening right now. I don't know if you've been to the site. You've
Yes, ma'am,
probably seen it.
multiple times.
So does this normally, I've got 5 competing thoughts coming out of my mouth at the same time, so I'll just pause and say what I want to say. Have you spoken with the developers, or will you, to make sure that the roads are clear and people can get through? And I did hear what was said, I believe, by the city engineer, that there's supposed to be flags, and I think the utilities have been pretty good about that. They've been out there doing electrical or line work or something in that corner of the town, not the gas company, but somebody else. And they've had flags out, and that's been good. But there's a lot of trucks parked on Northwest Highway, or cars, no flags, nobody out there to warn us. So, I mean, are you in contact with them to make sure that people can get through, and that won't be, they'll know when you're going to be coming through to do the work?
Yes, ma'am. So we coordinate all of our construction schedules with all the developers, so that way they know we're coming and they know what to expect to see us out on the road working. We do utilize traffic control companies. We'll have a flagger at each end of the zone. We will have warning signs spaced out to give drivers advance warning, and we will leave one lane open at all times.
That's really appreciated. Thank you. And thank you for being here.
Anyone else? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item 11G passes 4-0. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Stay up there.
I was fixing to say the next one up, so if that's okay. I'll just hang tight.
Okay. Item 11H, Resolution 62-24, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Fairview, Tennessee, authorizing Piedmont Natural Gas and Team Construction LLC to perform open-cut excavation along Crowcut Road. City Engineer?
Thank you, Mayor. Same story as last one, just a different location here. We're obviously along Crowcut Road. Looks like we're tying into Cumberland Drive near the Fairview Community Church, and then heading northbound on Crowcut Road. And again, applicants here to answer any questions.
We'll note, this does cross Highway 100. TDOT would maintain control over that project at that point. That crossing is also involved in an intersection project with Cumberland Drive, Crowcut Road, and Highway 100. TDOT is very aware of this. Piedmont has been hand in hand working with TDOT as a utility located at that intersection. And so not only have we had conversations with Piedmont discussing this particular crossing and going down Crowcut, but also TDOT has been involved in the planning process of the timing of when this will take place.
Mayor?
Yes.
This is a intersection that's a massive traffic intersection in the morning for the middle school and the high school. And I know that the work time is 8:30 to 3:30, but that'll...
TDOT has their own regulations for their road that are more stringent than our regulations.
Thank you. For anybody who's listening or anybody who's concerned that drives their kids to school or thinks about how this will work, can we maybe go into what those regulations would be and how that would just might affect the ingress and egress at that time?
You want to speak about TDOT's requirement to bore under Highway 100? You're more than welcome to.
I do not have those requirements with me tonight.
Ronnie, do you have them? There's a requirement to bore under 100 and not open cut, so they would maintain both lanes of traffic throughout the process there. Along the cut on Cumberland Drive, that would be tied in during the intersection project. That would allow them, there's likely a chance that Piedmont is required to move their regulator station due to the grading that will be taking place with the intersection project with TDOT. And so working through kind of the minute details of trying to plan each one of those pieces along with the Department of Transportation for their project and making them all work kind of seamlessly. There is a piece of the TDOT project where from this point, from Fairview Community Church to Highway 100, there's about a 3-month window where that piece of Cumberland Drive will be shut down to the public. And there will be a detour route through Dogwood to Glen Haven. And so that would be the preferred time method of when to cut that piece and go under Highway 100 during construction where it's already going to be open and excavated out throughout that piece. With that said, they could continue to run their main line down Crowcut Road, and then at that time of construction, which will be the time that they're allowed by TDOT to cross this, would be the time that they would make that final connection. That way they still have their pipe currently ran down Crowcut. They would just make the final connection to provide gas to those services.
May I restate what I think you said, just so that I'm clear and understand? Are you saying that they would sync up the timing for the gas line work with the timing that they're doing the grading for the stoplight, so that it would be one project and only one period of time that the detour would have to go down Dogwood?
That's the intention of TDOT for this project.
So that would ease it for all the people who would be affected by it?
That's correct.
Well, that's appreciated. Thank you.
Do you have a motion?
So move. Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Jones?
Commissioner Hall,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts,
Aye.
Commissioner Buffalini,
Aye.
Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Item H passes, 11H passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 12, roundtable, mayor and commissioners. Commissioner Buffalini.
Thank you, Mayor. On Friday the 13th at 11 p.m., I was standing outside the middle school and a coach bus pulled up, and I witnessed some of the proudest athletes here in Fairview that anyone has ever seen. So I want to let them know, and I want to let each and every one of you know that Fairview Middle School wrestling team is a state champion. It's the first time that any middle school has been a state champion. So it's definitely historic. It's definitely one of the proudest moments for the athletes, the parents, and definitely for Fairview. So I want to congratulate Fairview Middle School wrestling team for being #1 middle school state champion here in Tennessee and in all of Tennessee ever in history. I've also been in touch with the principals, the parents, State Representative Lee Reeves. I've also been in touch with Senator Jack Johnson, and we're going to have a proclamation for them. So when we can have an opportunity to invite them here, it's going to be a great opportunity for them and for everyone here in Fairview to witness this and just to congratulate these athletes. Male and female athletes, once again, state champions, so congratulations. Also with that, welcome to Sherwin-Williams, just making our city greater, just bringing more businesses here. It's a great ad. They're painting the world, that's their motto, so they're going to be painting Fairview as well. So with all the construction going on, I think they're going to thrive and do very well here. Our parade, our tree lighting, the high school chorus, ornament crafting, the caroling at Historic Village, everything was fantastic. I can't say enough about that. Our community relations and information officer, Richard Ross, did a fabulous job with all of it, putting it all together with the assistance of our city recorder, Rachel Jones, the Parks Program Coordinator, Bree Bailey, for all their hard work given to that, and just every staff member that took part in that. I mean, it was just a great weekend. It was nonstop, absolutely nonstop. Along with that, our Public Works Department, Todd, Blake, Will, Skylar, Dylan, they worked tirelessly that entire weekend. And just the other day, I saw the whole crew picking up garbage on the side of the road. And, we're fortunate enough to have Public Works, but that's not their job to pick up garbage. It's our job as citizens to curb ourselves and just do the right thing. So if you notice any trash, just pick it up. It's our streets. It's what we do. Just be kind, and like the mayor says at the end, just throw everything out, please. Also, congratulations to Fairview High School for winning the Community Choice Award out of all the schools in Williamson County. So I definitely want to say congratulations to them. Also, congratulations to several of the Fairview's finest, our police department. We have Captain, these are all promotions, Patrol Division Captain Jerry Booker, Criminal Investigations now Captain Kenny McAllister, Special Services Captain Jennifer Whitaker, and also back in, I want to say September, Jennifer celebrated 20 years here at Fairview PD, so I want to congratulate her on that as well. And also our newest police officer, Colton Stewart, I believe that's his name, right? Colton Stewart. Congratulations and welcome to Fairview PD. Congratulations to our firefighters, Officer of the Year and Firefighter of the Year, John Sheets and Jack Warren. Congratulations to those two individuals. Kyle Jones for serving our community as part of our fire department for 20 years as well. So congratulations to those individuals. Thank you to TDOT for what we just approved. We're getting some good fixes here in Fairview. We're getting sidewalks that people have been asking for as long as I've been here, and that's only 4 years. I'm sure you guys have been asking for it a lot longer, but I wasn't here to be part of that. So, but thank you very much to TDOT and for hearing us and finally doing something around here. Also, just to conclude, I want to thank every staff member here tonight and everyone that's been participating in all the events here in Fairview. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Hanukkah, and a safe New Year going forward. Thank you.
Commissioner Roberts?
Thank you, Mayor. I will start off by saying thank you so much for the fire department and the police department to do Shop with a Cop and for sharing about that. And thank you, Ms. Bailey, for sharing about the opportunity for us to help support youth who want to attend the parks. summer camps. So if you can think about helping to cover those scholarships, then we've got lots of great ways to support the children in our community. Thank you so much for the city staff for being here. It's been a very great year, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the next year. Thank you for the fire chief also for having the Boys and Girls Club. That's really special. Congratulations, Officer Stewart, on your graduation tomorrow. We'll all be thinking about you. And finally, I hope everyone has a very safe and restful break. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever your faith tradition is. I hope that you enjoy it with family and the people that you love. Stay safe and call 911 only if it's an emergency, and always if it's an emergency.
Mr. Hall?
Thank you, Board. Y'all about covered everything. Y'all really done a good job with that covering. Anyway, I want to thank all the employees and everybody that's been here tonight. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
I also want to say congratulations to the Fairview Middle School wrestling team for being the state champs. They have reached out to me and want to come to the January 16th meeting. So I've incorporated the Fairview Middle School football team. They are also the state champs. And if we're going to do a proclamation for one, I say we do for both. So 16th of January is going to be, if everyone wants to come out and just support them and just congratulate them on their achievement and accomplishments this year. We'll have a great night with lots of state champions here. And yeah, we'll do football as well, football and wrestling. I want to thank everyone who was involved with Shop with a Cop. That's such a great program that our city fire and police put on. And I just want to make sure everybody, heard what Chief Humphrey said. Every time we have an event and they're selling food, the police officers, that money goes to Shop with a Cop. But not only you can donate to that program, not just through purchasing food at events, you can always donate to that program, and they will hold that money until next year, Shop with a Cop. And also, they have some type of a canister or something where you can purchase food items, but also you can donate as well. So that's just a great program that serves our community's children. And if you'd like to give to that, just, see one of the officers or Chief Humphreys. I'm so excited for Colton Stewart. I didn't even realize that he had been hired here in Fairview. I've known Colton for a long time. My son is in powerlifting. He's competed 5 times, been in it about 2 years, and every time he's won a gold medal. His main trainer is Joe Corsi, who is also Colton's trainer, but Colton was always there and just supporting my son and helping him with nutrition and fitness. And he's just an amazing human being, and we are so blessed. We have such a great police force, and all the officers. I hear continually at my shop, we see hundreds of people every day from this community, and they always tell us, even if they get a ticket or they're pulled over or whatever, that our officers are so polite and so courteous and just so nice to them. So I really appreciate, and Chief Humphreys, please let your officers know that I hear that all the time, how nice and courteous they are to our community, and always reaching out to the children, you know, so that the children know that y'all are a safe place that they need you. So we really appreciate that. You know, we've had so many different events over the past couple months, and, you know, between Rachel and Bree and Richard and, you know, Keith and all of our staff, y'all have worked so hard. Richard puts on all these events and organizes them, finds all the funding so that our citizens, most every event is paid for by sponsors, and none of our citizens' tax dollars go to any of that. So it's freed our community. Richard does a great job. I'm so excited that he is involved in planning and organizing and finding funds for these events. He's the one that we need to thank for our beautiful Christmas tree that's out front. For years, it wasn't that great, and he took it upon himself to find that tree, negotiated a price that was incredible, and it's also a tree that can be added to. So I'm just excited about that. I know that Commissioner Buffalini said something about, you know, putting the ornaments that the kids made at the Nature Center on the tree. I think that's a great idea. I think that our community putting ornaments on the tree would just add to it. So I think that's a great idea. A few years back, I know that Patty knows this, Wayne knows this, Tom knows this all too well. Our city was broke. We had no money. We couldn't buy anything. Forget looking at a budget. We were just trying to scrape together money to pay for what we could. I know there were several people that not only helped in this situation who were city employees, they took a pay cut just to help because of all this. It had nothing to do with, Tom was our financial guy back then and had nothing to do with him. There were some, poor choices made by, previous administration and got us in a really bad way. We were broke. And Tom was here during that. He helped us move past that. And right now, we're in the best financial situation. I've lived here over 30 years that I have ever seen our city in. I'm excited about the financial state that we're in. Coming to this year end, we see prosperity. We see all these great things that we're planning that we can afford to do for our community. And to go from a few years ago being absolutely broke to right now where we've got surplus, I just have to commend our city manager, who was also our CFMO through all of that, and also Commissioner Hall, who was our city manager through part of that, and they saw us through. Asking this community about how they feel. Tom's lived here all of his life, and asking our community how they feel about Tom and everything he's done for this community. I don't know of one person, unless they're so new that they don't know him, would not say that he's one of the best things that's happened to our city staff. I appreciate everything you do. I know that you are a Christian man. You have our city's best interest at heart, and you work tirelessly. I see that because we've spent many a night here before Ben signing checks on our own time, well, at least on my own time, but with you for hours. And I see how hard you work, and I just want you to know I appreciate you. Our citizens tell me how much they appreciate you. the ones who've seen us go from having no money to having a surplus now, seeing all the different things that we're getting to do in our community, the new playground, our Parks Department, able to have all these wonderful programs that they showed to us tonight. And I commend you. I commend the staff. Thank you, Patrick, Mr. Carter, for everything you do, giving us good counsel. And our codes department. This is our last meeting of the year, so I just want to thank, our Public Works and everyone on our staff that works so hard for this community. Our fire, our police, you keep us safe. I've been involved in some way since 2008. I have never, and I've said this over and over the past 2 years that I've been mayor, I've never seen a staff like we have right now. I know how hard you work. I see it on a daily basis. I'm up here all the time, out going to meetings representing Fairview, and people in other cities come to me and they see what's going on here and they're excited for us. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to the board. And I just wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And like I always say, let's just help keep our community beautiful by picking up trash and not throwing it out. I entertain a motion to adjourn.